Welcome back, my dear students, and in the next video we will be designing the categories. Alright, but first we have to understand about two things: the margins and the paddings. And in this particular video we're going to be talking about the margins and the paddings. Now before starting that, I just want you to go ahead, create a section, add a column into it, and then just click on this grid icon here and drag this heading over here. Now when you drag this heading, you can see that right here, this blue line, when this heading is actually selected and it says edit heading, this blue line is coming right there across that particular heading, telling you that this is the heading area. All right, and now this will be your whole heading area. So if you go into the advanced tab, and now if you go into the background, and now if you apply a classic background of this particular heading, that is going to be applied to that area only. So when this blue line that's been coming over there, this is basically defining you the area of that particular heading. Now this video is all about understanding about the margins and the paddings. All right, so before just working up with that, I want you to go into the edit heading, just right click on here, click edit heading, go to the advanced tab, and then go into the border. And then what you need to do is to select the border to be solid and apply a border over here. That's it. That is the only thing you need to do. And now let's start with our margin and let's start with our padding. So if you now go to the advanced over here, you can see that right here we've got this padding and right here we've got this margin. Now let's first go ahead and let's first talk about the paddings, and then we're going to be just going up with the margin. So what I will do is that I will go ahead and I will increase the padding from here. And you can see that the padding is being increased from all the sides: top, right, bottom, and left. This is the top, this is the right, this is the bottom, and this is the left. And you can see that how this padding is actually being increased. When I increase it, there is some spacing that's been given to the element from the inside. And now if I just go ahead and I just increase the margin, then see the difference. All right, I just go ahead and I just increase the margin. Then what is happening is that spacing is being given to the element from the outside. So when you will increase the padding, the spacing will be given from the inside of the element. And when you will be increasing the margin, the spacing will be given from the outside of the element. Now, if you go to the background, and now if you go into the color, and if you apply a color, that will be applied to the padding area, not the margin area, because the margin means that you are basically shrinking the element itself, and the padding means that you are giving spacing inside the element. So this means that. Now I hope that this is actually clear to you. All right, let's just go ahead and let's take a look at an example, and then it will be much more clear to you. So in this particular video, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be designing this thing. All right, we're going to be creating a section, then we're going to be adding 2 columns into it, and then what we will be doing is that we will be adding a heading, the button, and then we're going to be adding this thing. So let's just see this particular video. You do not need to implement it, and then it will be much more easier for you to understand about the margins and the paddings. So let's just go ahead and let's do that. First of all, what I will do is that I will get rid of this, and now I will click on this plus over here, and now I will just add a column. Now what I will do is that I will go ahead and I will set the section height to be of a minimum height, and I will increase it till this much. And now I will go to the style and I will upload or add a background color. For this particular section, we're going to be designing and we're going to be choosing the background color to be of blue. All right. And now what we need is that we need to add 2 columns into it. So the first one will be this and the other will be this. All right, so let's just go ahead and let's do that. What we will do is that we will go ahead and we will add 2 columns. So we will say that we want 2 columns over here. Now once you are done with that, now what we will do is that we will get a heading, and then we will go ahead and we will change its color to white. And now what we will do is that we will duplicate it, and now we will be like increasing the size of this heading, and we will be going ahead and decreasing the size of this heading. So we will go ahead and we will decrease it. Now once you are done with that, now we will go ahead and we will get the text editor and we will add some text. We will go ahead and we will copy and paste and paste. Alright, and now we will go to the style and change its color to white, just like that. And now we will go ahead and we will get a button down below that says click here, and we will change its color to be white and text color to be black. And now if you take a look at it, that this button is actually curved from the side, so we will make this button to be fully square. And how you make it to be square, all you need to do is to go to this, and here it says the border radius. So set the border radius of this button in the styling to be 0, and now it will be turned to full square. Alright, so now if you go ahead and even if you just select click edit button, and if you just increase this, like let's suppose that you set this to 30 pixel, you can see how this button is curved from this side. So this is how basically the border radius works. Since we need it to be full square, we will just set this to the full square. And you can see that this part is actually designed. Now we need to design this part. So what we are doing is that inside this column, we want to use column. So can you do that? Can you add a column? Can you add 2 columns inside a column? Yes, you can do that. For that, you basically need to get an intersection. And this intersection has 2 columns, and all the columns basically has white background. So what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will click on edit column, we will go to the style, and now we will choose the color and we will add that color over here. Now what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will copy this column and we will paste the style of the column that we just copied. And right here you can see that this is how it's looking. Now what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will get this text and we will drop it here, and we will change this to SEO. Alright, and we will bring this to center, and similarly we will go ahead and we will change its color to be black. And now we will go ahead and we will get the text editor and we will align it to be center. So we will go into the style and we will align this to center. And now what we will do is that we will change its color to be black as well. Alright, so we just want to use some little content, so we will go ahead and we will use this one single line only. That's it. Now once you're done with that, we will go ahead and we will duplicate this column, and now we will go ahead and we will delete this. So now here, if you take a look at this, then this is actually the column, and now this column has a white color and this column has a white color as well. So now what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will duplicate this section and we will change this to like web design and change this as well. And right here, if you take a look at this particular thing that's coming right here, there are no spacing from this side. But if you take a look at this right here, there are spacing from the inside as well. And there are spacing outside as well right here, this plus thing that's been coming. So what we need to do is that we need to work with the inside spacing as well. And we also need to work with the outside spacing as well. So how do you do that? Let's go ahead and let's take a look at it. First of all, we want to work with the spacing inside. So what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will click on edit column, and now we will go into the advanced so that we can give some spacing from the inside. And how do you give spacing inside? Do you use margins or do you use paddings? Think about a minute and just answer it very quickly. Yes, we basically use the padding to give spacing inside in the column. Alright, so what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will increase it. And you can see that the spacing is now being given. So we have chosen like 23 pixels from each side. Alright, now what we will do is that we will select this column and we will click on edit column. And now we will go into the advanced and we will add 23 pixels of the padding right here. And you can see that now the spacing is being given from each side. Now what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will copy this element and we will paste the style of this element here, and we will paste the style of this element here, so that's like every of the elements has been given some spacing. Now what we need to do is to give the spacing outside. So how do we give the spacing outside? When we want to give the spacing outside, we basically have to use the margin. And when we will be using the margin, like when we will be increasing it, you can see how this spacing is being given from outside and how much amazing this is looking. So once I select 5 pixel, now I can go ahead and I can copy the style. I can come up here and I can paste the style. I can come up here and I can paste the style over here, and I can paste the style over here. And if you take a look at it now, you can see that now we are getting the spacing from every side. And right here, we have achieved this design. Now this design font is a bit more smaller, but ours is a bit much bigger, so you can neglect that. But I just wanted to show you about, like, you can go ahead and you can copy a design, something like that, and incorporate onto your website using the margins and the paddings. That was all for understanding about the margins and the paddings. Similarly, margins and paddings are used to give spacing from the top and the bottom as well. So let's suppose that we want to get, let's suppose that we go into the edit section and we go to the layout and we just set, and we do not add a minimum height. We just say that we don't need a minimum height. Then what we do is that we need the spacing from the top and the bottom. Then what we would do is that we would go to the advanced. And we need the spacing from the top and the bottom, and the spacing should be from inside or outside of this section. The spacing should be from the inside. Do you know the reason? It's because when we will be giving the spacing from the outside, that is the margin, and we increase it, you can see that there is a white space that's been going on. So what we need to do is that we will just go ahead and we will just use this to be 0. Now why this white space is coming is that because the spacing is being given from the outside of the element at the top. Alright, so we will set this to 0. What we need to do is that we need to add spacing from the inside. So what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will increase it just like that, and you can see that how it's being increased. Now when you will be increasing it so much more, you will see that a point will be coming where this inside thing is actually shrinking. And the reason for that is because our padding is also being applied to the right and the left side. So if you do not want it to be applied to the right and the left side, what you can do is that you can click on it that says link values together, and then you can set the right side to be 0, and you can set the left side to be 0, and whatever the inner width of this inner section that we have in here will be applied over here. So let's suppose that we have chosen it to be 1200 pixels. It's going to be applied just like that. And you can see that now we are being given the margin, we have given actually the padding from the top and the bottom. And you can see that this is how it's used. Now margins and paddings are basically used for spacing. Similarly, let's suppose that we want to just give spacing from this column as well. Like we want to get like this much spacing till here. What you would need to do, you would basically need to give this spacing from this column till this side. So what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will click on edit column, and now we will go to the advanced, and now we need to give this spacing from the left side. So we want to give the spacing inside, all right, because we want to give the spacing inside this column, and this column is actually selected. And we want to give it to the, not the left side, basically on the right side of this column. So what we will do is that we will unlink the values together. And you can see that by the default, there are some paddings given to each side. So now what we will be doing is that we will be increasing some of the top padding, like let's suppose that we want to give 19 pixels. Then we will be adding some of the left padding, and we will be adding like 19 pixels. So right here you can see that we have been given space, but from the right side, what we want to do is that we want to add like much more spacing. So what we will do is that we will say that we want to use 60 pixel spacing, and you can see that 60 pixel spacing is now being given here, and our this block now kind of seems to be much better. So this is how basically the spacing works. You can go ahead and you can use like spacing to your elements to work with that. And if you want to add spacing, you basically have to use margins or the paddings. Once again, margins are used to give spacing outside the element, and paddings are used to give spacing inside the element. That was it for today. Now, in the next video, we will be going ahead and we will be working up with designing our category stuff. So in the next video, we will be working up with that. Stay tuned and bye-bye.